Hi everybody, this is Luke again, and welcome back to Serious Sunday. This week, an update. So last week I reported on AM2R, which is a fan project known as another Metroid 2 remake. That's the meaning of the initialism. That was released as a fan celebration of the 30th anniversary of the release of Metroid on the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a fantastic game. I still stand by that statement. I loved every moment that I play of it, and I hope that a lot of people still get the opportunity to do so, but unfortunately, and perhaps predictably, it was taken down by Nintendo within days of its release. They received DMCA notices, that's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, from Nintendo, basically attempting to stop them from releasing their game, or, well, distributing that game, I suppose. So, unfortunately, AM2R is dead. But something that was perhaps even a little bit more sad after the loss of AM2R in such quick succession after its release was it had some more far-reaching consequences, perhaps, than just the loss of one fan project. It was brought to my attention recently that there was a project that was also doing reasonably popularly or reasonably well called Pokemon Uranium, which is once again another sort of semi-Nintendo property. Pokemon really is a product of the Pokemon Company, which is like a consortium of companies, one of which is Nintendo, as well as Game Freak and so on. But it's ultimately, it's Nintendo, right? And after the loss of AM2R, we very quickly also saw that another popular project, this one having 1.5 million downloads at this point, was removed. Now, in this case, it wasn't that they received a direct DMCA notice from the Pokemon Company, but I would be willing to hazard a guess that it was something of a reactionary move on their part after seeing what exactly happened with AM2R. Unfortunately, we kind of are in a situation where fan remakes such as this just, I'm not going to say are unwelcome, but are definitely under fire from companies like Nintendo. And it's a sad state of affairs, really. I wish that there was some way that people could confidently release these fan projects, because, I mean, ultimately it's a labor of love, right? All of these people are making their games based off of a very strong feeling toward the game that they're emulating, or the game that they're creating a fan project based off of. I don't think anybody could argue that any of the projects that have been released, like AM2R or Pokemon Uranium, are in any way intended to be a attack against Nintendo for whatever, really. I mean, the closest argument that I've seen as to why Nintendo would consider it an attack is that, AM2R is a better Metroid game than they've released in years upon years. But, I mean, nobody's really going to see it that way. It's just, it's ultimately, it boils down to a perhaps misguided but not necessarily incorrect assumption of Nintendo that if they want to protect their IP, they should protect it jealously and very aggressively. And that's just the stance that they've always kind of taken. Unfortunately, they have, at the very least, they're consistent, right? Like, they always do this when presented with projects that infringe on their intellectual property. So I guess it doesn't really come as a surprise to anybody that this is kind of what has been happening, but it's really just a sad time for fan projects in general when two fairly high profile and very high quality projects were removed in such quick succession based off of the properties of another company. And I've said in many ways that Nintendo is fairly sort of out of touch with the modern fan base. They do definitely have sort of a weirdly antagonistic relationship with the people that enjoy and play their games. I don't know that they would particularly themselves see it that way, but that's just kind of the way it manifests. They don't like having fan projects made of their IP, and whether that is a good choice or not, and whether that sort of hits on their goodwill, it's still the choice that they make and have traditionally made. So the best that we can really do is to just move on from these kinds of fan projects of Nintendo properties and try to continue onward with something new and better and perhaps original. I would like to see, or I would love to see really, the creators of AM2R and the creators of Pokemon Uranium take these projects, these wildly successful and great and extremely well done projects, and do something with them, do something better with them. I know that sprite work takes a lot out of you. I did a lot of sprite in my own day, so it's not something that is easy or fast, and losing the ability to use 50% or more of the work that you've done is soul crushing. But it's my hope, at least, that the people who created these awesome passion projects will continue to support them in their own way, even if it's no longer in the form of being a direct fan project of the property that it's based off of. In the case of AM2R, Metroid. In the case of Pokemon Uranium, Pokemon, obviously. People, I think, will be willing to accept something that isn't necessarily Metroid or Pokemon, and they'll play it and enjoy it for the merits that it has. And believe me, having played it, there's a lot of merit in these projects. So I think, yeah, it's a logical step for them to push on making the next version of it and making it great. And I think that's absolutely something that they can accomplish, and I sincerely hope that they try. I'd like to see reskins of both of these, and if they are released in such a way, then I will download them and I'll play them as well. And I hope that other people would. And I believe that other people would. So it's a sad day for fan projects. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles with Nintendo. Fortunately, not all video game developers and publishers are like Nintendo. A lot of us love fan projects, love seeing people with passion for the projects that we work on do something with those and make something great based off of those. Maybe one day Nintendo will kind of see the light and realize that they're just alienating themselves from their fan bases by doing things like this, but it's going to take a long time and probably a change of some people up in the higher echelons of Nintendo to accomplish something like that. So I wouldn't hold my breath that it's going to happen anytime soon, but we can always dream. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in. As always, it's kind of a sad day today, but there's not a whole lot that we can do all about it. So enjoy playing more AM2R if you manage to get your hands on it. I would also say take a look and see if you can find Pokemon Uranium, but be careful if you're looking for it. Unfortunately, a lot of shitty people are releasing mirrors of Pokemon Uranium that have Trojans in them, so be very careful with your computer when you download these unofficial re-releases of the game. The last thing you need is to download something that is great and end up having something shitty happen to your computer. So be careful out there, but do enjoy the games. Try and find them, and a pox on all the people who are fucking with fans that just want to play a game. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Take care.